Without top line revenue, you can't grow your business. If you're pulling in $1,000 a month or if you're pulling $100,000 a month, 25% of that needs to go into some sort of marketing effort. And for people that are starting out, your marketing efforts might be giving away stuff for free.
Yeah.
That might be your marketing. Combine habits.
What's up, Armando? How you doing, man?
What up?
Hey, this is Armando Leduc, all right? Good friend, mentor, partner, and of mine. And he is the founder and CEO of Leduc Entertainment, which you can see the sign in the background. Welcome to the show. I'm glad I finally got you on here, man. Welcome to Money, Music, and Marketing, baby, because that's what we do.
I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Money, music, and marketing.
It's our three favorite things.
I love it.
You do music, right?
I love music, man. I grew up with music. My dad was in the military. He was in the Army band for 22 years.
Oh, really?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this back just a little bit so I can hear myself.
Sure. Yeah.
But my dad was in the military band, played trumpet for 22 years, and I grew up listening to all of it, man. Funk, salsa, jazz, opera, classical, march music, German oompa music. So
German oompa.
Everything. Yeah,
that's
man.
Cool.
Some Oktoberfest
When did you start?
Stuff. That's
when did
fun
you start
music.
Performing? I've never heard it. When did you start performing?
When did I start performing? Performing what?
Music.
So a lot of times, so I started off playing trumpet when I was in 6th grade and thought that was going to be like my thing, and played it all the way up until high school. And the music teacher at the time, I just didn't gel, and he turned me off of it. But it was a good thing, because then I veered off and went into doing theater, and that really changed my life. But music is still in my life completely. I sing, I sing in a wedding and cover band, so
yeah, it's
still a very big part of my life. I love it.
Your music teacher was like the Whiplash guy from the movie? Not that crazy?
I felt like he just sucked the fun out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how some people just like there's uninspired, didn't really I don't know, just uninspiring, not fun, not creative, not trying to get it. I think he hated his job, and it showed,
Bitter
sucks
from
because
his failed. Yeah.
Because the thing is, as a kid, you're so impressionable, right? And if you're listening to the right people, that could really launch you, or that could really end what any spark, any fire that you have. It could get dampened real quick.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, and let
them lead the way.
So stupid. That's
Sex
dumb.
with chocolate.
That's just cut that. Please cut it.
I actually was in a
dumb
boy
joke. I'm a dad now, dude. I'm a dad now. I gotta bring in these dumbass dad jokes. Can we say ass?
I was in a boys' choir when I was in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, and it was like a legit choir. It was at a church, and we would get paid every Friday. We would get paid based on our attendance, and also based on our skill level, and whether we're doing solos and stuff. And we get $3, $4, $7, $8, and then we would go on tour, bro. We would get booked. Yeah, we would get booked for weddings. We would get booked for events, and we went to Hawaii, we went to Canada, we went to Mexico, we went to Seattle, all these different places, performing, doing all this crazy stuff. And our teacher, he was an asshole. He was not nice, but he was really good. At the same time, and so I kind of had that type of experience, yeah. But it was dope. The first time I went on tour.
I wouldn't mind that. I don't mind people being assholes.
Yeah.
If they're pulling out the best.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't be an asshole just to be an asshole. But if you're an asshole because the result is to be better and holding you accountable, I don't necessarily think that's sort of an asshole thing. Right. Look, a lot of people call me an asshole, and that's because I hold myself to a high standard. And then I also hold people that are around me to a high standard. And so if you want to call me an asshole because I'm holding you accountable, well, that's on you.
Right.
You know, but don't try to make me feel bad because I expect more from you. Right. You know, and if you're being lazy and if you're trying to cut corners and I'm pointing it out and you want to call me an asshole because of it, that's on you. I don't think that's me being an asshole. I mean, what's the definition of an asshole?
I feel like
I don't know. I'm asking you. What do you think?
I feel like it's like unwarranted, like unnecessary, like unwarranted being a dick. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not backing it up with anything. And I feel like that's the difference. It's like if you're an asshole, but then like you're showing results and you're providing results and what you're saying and talking about is working, then people should be okay with the assholeness of it. You know? Wouldn't
that be considered disciplined though?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you don't have a clue and you're aimless, you have no idea, right? We learn in 4 phases. Yeah, do you know the 4 phases of learning? Unconscious incompetence. This is where we don't know what we don't know because we haven't learned it yet, right? Then you have conscious incompetence. This is where you have been taught and you are now aware of your not knowing anything, right? Then you have conscious competence. This is where you're learning, you're having to still do things, but you're still thinking about it. And then you have unconscious competence. This is where you're doing things second nature, right? Like how we drive a car, like, you know, where you're at in your career with music. I mean, it's just second nature, right?
Right.
And so if you're in unconscious competence phase and I'm trying to teach you and you are resistant to it, then my approach
seem like an asshole.
might be different.
Right.
In order to get the results, I may need to treat you in a certain way, right? In order to get to in order to get the results. So, am I wrong for trying to maybe be a little bit more tough and as a tactic in order to get you to where you want to go, right? Like I don't necessarily like with my my employees. I understand, and there's a really good book. It's called Taking Flight, and it's about DISC personalities. Are you familiar with the DISC personality types?
Yeah,
DISC.
Yeah.
So the DISC is the 4 quadrants are people facing and speed, right? So you have D and I's that are people facing, right? And they're fast. However, D, they're not necessarily so people facing. They're like, they make decisions quick. I'm a D personality type. I'm definitely not the norm, right? There's more S types, and we'll get to S types here in a second. But D personalities are very fast, not necessarily people oriented. And then you have I personality types that are fast paced, but they're people oriented, right? These are your people that socialites, love the party, can make friends super easy, you know, super flighty, you know. And then you have S personality types that are slower but people focused. These are more nurturing. They're going to talk. They want to get to they want to know all of the details and the feel good stuff, right? And then you have C personality types that are slow moving, but they're not necessarily people facing. And these are your your scientists, more tech people, you know. And so knowing about that book helps me in management style. Right, or when to turn it on and when to turn it off, and who can deal with me being a little bit more tough, and then who needs sort of a velvet glove, right? And I think it's super important in any organization to know what personality types you're dealing with. Right, that's one internally, so that you can grow a company, but also how outward facing. Right, I can tell super quick who I'm dealing with when I'm at a networking event. Okay, are they an S type? Are they a C type? Are they an I type? Or are they a D type? You know, and so you can change quickly knowing these personality types, so that you can speak in the language that they like. Right. And so I guess and then you can then you can move away from being perceived as an asshole.
Yeah. Exactly.
If you understand how to talk to people, which is something that I learned more later on in life and not necessarily in my 20s. But that's why reading is so important, because it could really change your life. I'm reading a book right now. It's called You Owe You by Eric Thomas. Thomas. If you don't follow E.T., but he's amazing, and it's just a story about how he came to be, and his philosophy on life and motivation and staying consistent and the whole nine. But one of the things that he talks about is really understanding what your superpower is, your gift, and then doubling down on it, getting books, courses, reading, getting really good at your superpower.
Gotcha.
Right? And so as a business owner, knowing a bunch of different things helps you in business, right?
Yeah.
Personalities, mindset, growth, sales, marketing, management, the whole nine, because it all talks to each other. So knowing all of that. All that to talk about being an asshole.
Being an asshole. So how long have you, there it is, boom. So what year did you start Leduc?
So I started my production company in 2012 called Sketchy Characters. Okay. And this started off as an improv group. And so we were doing fun comedy, and then we started doing sketches on video, and then we made a movie called Bourbon Whiz. And I took this film, Bourbon Whiz, it's a Wizard of Oz meets Bourbon Street. I bought 2,000 copies of this DVD. Right? And I went and I sold it door to door, like a mixtape.
Yes.
Out the trunk. I did. Yeah. I was like, I would hit people up in the French Quarter, and I would walk up and down Bourbon Street, all around the French Quarter, and I would go, hey, do you guys like comedies? Sure. Have you ever heard of Bourbon Whiz? What's that? Oh, it's the Wizard of Oz meets Bourbon Street. It's about Dorothy. Yeah. She lives in Kansas. She can't drink on Sunday because of Dry County law. I'd go through my whole pitch, and I would sell it. I sold 2,000 copies of this movie.
Man, for how much?
And made really good money. Yeah. And we went to comic book conventions and things. I wanted to start getting into like more corporate work. And so in 2016, I rebranded into Leduc Entertainment just for like the corporate work. So at that point, we were doing commercials here and there. We were doing some weddings, but nothing really life-changing. It was okay. So I was running DAP Band and I was running Leduc Entertainment, but it wasn't until 2 years ago where things just started exploding.
So what was like the turning point? Like what was the catalyst that took you from that to what it is now in this particular like vertical that you're in?
What's funny? So in 2020, right, we're all still hanging out, doing crazy stuff at home. I did a whole COVID-19 album. I did a bunch of parodies, like Baby It's Cold Outside was Baby It's COVID Outside, and did all of these, different fun things. But just like everybody else, we were in this sort of holding pattern, didn't know what the future held. And I was taking this like manifestation course by Bob Proctor. Proctor Gallagher was the company, and I got hooked up with a bunch of people that were talking, just about manifestation type of things. And I was like, I don't know, we'll see. So I decided I put together an affirmations tape. Right. And it's so funny because I totally forgot about this tape until about a month ago when I found it, in my iTunes, and I was like, oh my God, let me listen to this. In it, I had written all of my goals down, what I wanted in life, right? I wanted a house by the water. I wanted to own my house. I wanted to be making at least $300,000 a year. I wanted, blah, 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 just a bunch of things, right? And I recorded it and I would listen to it. And at the time, I think it was September of 2020. And right before we had an opportunity to buy a home. And we started putting everything together. And I was like, man, this is all coming together. We just like went from house to house to house for a whole year till we found this house that was right next to the water. Now we have a levee that's blocking it, but it's next to the water, right? You got to be more specific about what you want, of course. Right? So if you want an ocean view, say ocean view.
Right, not a levee view.
You know, the universe will, you know, conspire to help you if you're super clear about what you want. And I did. I was like super clear about it. Well, September comes around. We get into this house, and I remember my wife at the time, because we were kind of overextending ourselves to get into this home. This was totally out of our budget, and my wife was like, "Do you think we should do it?" And I was like, 100%. Yes. I was like, if we don't step out of our comfort zone, we'll never get there, right? But I know that we will operate and get the things that we want if we step outside of our comfort zone to get it. Right. Well, so we get this house, right? And a friend of mine, Brett, who you know, he said, "Hey, Armando, I've been putting money into the radio, about $3,000 a month in radio ads, and it's been working like gangbusters." And I was like, okay, you know. And at that time, I was like, $3,000 a month was a lot of money. I mean, look, it's still a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie, it's still a lot of money. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it, and I started. Right, 2 weeks in, nothing.
You were doing radio ads?
Nothing. Yeah, I was doing radio ads. Fourth weekend, nothing. Right, and it was like, but I was once again out of my comfort zone, doing things that I was putting my money where my mouth was. Right. Now, it was October, I think it was 2nd or 3rd. It had just finished my last play on the radio, and I was debating on whether or not I wanted to do it again. I get a call out of the blue. My boy Lewis calls me. Hey, Armando, I just started a company. It's called 8-Figure Firm. He explained it. He's like, look, COVID hit. And I was just like, I wanted to help people with their businesses and how to scale a law firm. Do you think you could come out and shoot some videos for me, you know, in Atlanta? And I was like, yeah. At that point, I had only done like one-offs, though. I'd never done like several videos at the same time.
Series, yeah.
So I went out and I shot like, I think we did about 10 to 15 videos, super, once again, overextended myself and put myself out of my comfort zone. Well, it was shaky at first, not gonna lie, because we'd always done like one video really well, but like now we're doing like 10, 15 videos at a time. So I brought my editor in, he was helping me out. Then we got another client, Audrey Chisholm from Chisholm Law. And I saw with my own eyes how Lewis and content marketing and all of this helped her grow from right around $700K a year to 2.4 million within 6 months. And I'm there for it. Wow. I'm seeing it. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, something's happening here, right? Then Lewis is like, hey, Armando, you have a 7-figure business. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, dude, you have a 7-figure business. You just don't know how to get there. And you got to understand, me and Lewis grew up together, right? We were in high school together. We lived in the same neighborhood. We, ran the streets together. So when somebody tells you something, you sort of have that familiar,
that close to,
yeah, and you're just like, okay. Like, look, I know you're doing well, right? But law. Like, that's what you know. You don't know anything about this. Right. But it took me a second, 2-3 months of seeing this growth happening, right? He took his business from zero startup in September of 2020 to in July of 2021, I have a text message where he hit $106,000 in revenue for that month. For that month. And I'm like, okay. So at that point, success leaves clues. Right. And you've got to follow the signs. You got to look around and follow the people that are doing it. Right. And I'm like, okay, what you got? He's like, look, I can give you this information for free, but you won't value it. nor will you put it into practice. And one of the big things that he says is the speed of growth is tied to the speed of implementation. Right? He's like, I can tell you all of these things, but if you do not implement it, you're not going to grow. And he was like, all of this stuff is predictable, all of it. You know, Applebee's knows on a Friday night how much food they need to order in order to not overspend, right? And hit their mark. Like, it's all predictable. Marketing is the same way. And he said, hey, 37% goes to employees, 25% goes into marketing, 10% goes into operations, and then the rest goes into your pocket. And if you stick to those ratios, you will grow your business. Okay, how much? $2,000 a month. And I'm like, oh man. Dude, my home,
your mortgage
is $1,500 a month. My mortgage is $1,500 a month, and I'm like,
do you hear that?
So you want me to pay you $2,000 a month? I know, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, look, let's do it. $2,000 a month, I'm all in. The first month we worked together, as a consultant, you know, mentor type relationship, I hit $30,000 in revenue, which up until that point, my revenue for the year for Leduc Entertainment was right around, I think 69,000 was like my biggest year. For the year. $69,000 a year. And like in my first month working with him as a mentor, I hit 30,000.
That's crazy.
Okay. And so I was like, all right.
What do you think was
you know?
Can you give us like one or two things that you think that jumps out that you would attribute to that 30K? Like
mindset,
and then that mindset led to what?
Led to closing deals.
Right.
Led to accepting money. Right. Like I saw with my own eyes how quickly Lewis grew his business. Then Audrey grew her business. Then I saw another guy, Riot Greathouse, who just bought a Ferrari, how he grew his business. You know, another lady, Charlotte Christian, who's a family law attorney in Huntsville, saw how she grew her business. Like, I saw it. And so my voice and my conviction and my confidence changed completely, right? Because knowledge is power. You know, when you see it and it's not theoretical, it's not like when somebody's throwing these numbers out and it's just like they're just throwing these numbers out. Like when you actually see it happening in front of your face and you see your bank account, like when you're implementing the strategies and you start seeing how your business is growing as a result, then when you go out there, the inflection is different. And results so mindset, 100% is mindset. Yeah. You know, because like when I'm talking to you now, you know, and when I talk to a client now, it's like, it's a no-brainer. There's no convincing. I'm not here trying to come to you in a perspective of, well, so do you think that you want to have a commercial? Like dude, not only should you be doing content marketing, you should be doing content marketing 5 years ago. But whatever, you should have been doing it. It's okay. Now is the time though. Like hop on it. Like we all know it. You know what I mean? Like we all know. And here's the thing. Now I'm not going to sell you. I'm going to share stories with you. Right. And look at this person. They're successful because they're doing this. You see that person? They're successful because they're doing this. And that's it. And so when this changed, everything else changed. You know, and sometimes you need to have somebody in your life that just gives you permission. Right. You ever notice that? You ever notice that? Absolutely. Like sometimes you just need permission from somebody else to like that knows that believes in you more than you believe in yourself. Right. And that they can just say one thing that you could have told yourself over and over and over again, but you hear from somebody else in that position, and you're just like, boom, that's it. That's all I needed to hear. Right. That's all I needed to hear, you know? And then that's all I needed to see. And that together mixed, you know, and then the implementation strategy too. It's like, once he started he wrote a book, The 9 Exponential Laws of Growth, right? And I read that book. He just finished another book called The King of Growth, you know, and And you got to understand, this guy gets mentored by the CEO of the Ritz-Carlton. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So when we're talking about service standards and when we're talking about processes and procedures and KPIs and things like that,
it's the ultimate.
You're hearing it from the people that are doing it, right? So unless you're an idiot, you're not gonna. You know what I mean? Like, they're already, they've done it. They've paved the road. Like, just go down that road. Why are you trying to reinvent things where you don't need to? Now, look, innovation is going to happen based on your experience mixed with their knowledge mixed with other things, and that's how innovation happens, right? Like ideas get grouped together, and all of a sudden we have this, right? So I'm not saying that you can't innovate as a result of following somebody else's path, and then you're like, oh, hey, they probably didn't think of adding this this aspect to that trail, right?
Steal
and then
like
that's how other and that's how other things take off as a result. Mm-hmm. So, but if you're trying to pave the road yourself,
it's going to be a lot tougher.
It's going to be a lot tougher. I'm not saying, look, if we're trying to get from here to New York, right, without a map, can you get there? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could get there. You can, can ask questions, you might eventually get there. But here's the reality. The likelihood of you getting there without a map is less likely. Mm-hmm. But if you have a map and then you have somebody that's that's along the road with you that has been there before thousands of times,
right?
Then just follow that guy. Just follow him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're lucky enough to have a mentor that cares that much, that he brings you on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like now, Lewis, when we started 2 years ago, access to him was super easy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I had access to him a lot. Right. Now, not so much.
Right. Not so much.
Now you got to go to the mastermind, and and when if I get 15 minutes, here and there, unless we're on a call, like it's going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah, man, that's huge. And for me, it took me a long time to really understand how to, I guess, get a mentor. Like, because for the longest time, I never understood like what the process was. Everyone was like, get a mentor. And I'm just like, I don't understand how I get a mentor. Like, and it was just interesting how for me, it happened naturally, but it only happened until I like dove headfirst into, I guess, my path, but then also involving lots of other people. Cause I've always been just like my studio's at home. I make music. I do this thing by myself. And I'm just on the grind and I'm independent and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm sitting here wondering why I've never had help from anybody. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, as soon as
I think that's an ego thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I mean, we're, ego can be great and ego can be, detrimental. But I think a lot of times it's that pride of, wanting to figure things out and getting those things done. And you're still figuring them out. You're still getting them done. You still have to do the work, even if you're getting, mentorship. Yeah. But I mentioned this before, but I wanted to go back to it, that affirmations tape, because I listened to it, right? And in 2020, when I wrote that stuff down, I was like, oh, I wanted to reach 300,000. Like, I blew past it. We hit $500,000 in a year.
Yeah.
We went from $69,000 a year to $500,000. And and the things that I had written down goal wise, I far exceeded them, or the goals that I thought I wanted, I didn't really want, because when I went back there, I was like, I don't really want that. Right. You know what I mean? But but the things that I did want, the universe knows, God knows, and I'm definitely religious and spiritual, and I believe in energy, and I believe that, whether it's your ancestors and God and the universe and all of that, like if you are so super specific about what it is that you want in life and you're consistently going after it, signs will appear if you're paying attention. that will get you there, right? Like the blessings in my life all day, every day happen because I'm super clear about what I want. And because I'm super clear about what I want, that stuff comes to me, you know? And if I'm out there trying to do the same by giving, right? And by like, you know, making myself available to people where I am helping them, then that stuff is going to come back to me too. Absolutely. You know, like the help keeps coming to me, and then I keep giving the help out too, you know, and you keep building value and you're known as a resource. That's the secret. You know, being super clear and knowing and consistent, you know, all of those buzzwords that people talk about all the time.
But the clarity
it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
Yeah. Clarity is definitely the biggest thing. You know, it's like because anytime we're not clear as to where we're going, just like that map example, trying to get, you know, from California to New York, you can be like, oh, well, I want to get to the other side of the country, or I want to, but there's so many different areas and there's so many different paths and there's so many different ways. It's so easy to get lost and get confused and overwhelmed and convoluted. And that's why like general goals don't work. You know, when people say, oh, I want to lose weight. You know, okay, well, how much? Or I want to make more money. Well, how much more money? You know, and it's just like that. If you don't have the clear destination, then there's impossible for there to be a clear path, right? And yeah, that's what's up.
I think that people are trying to figure it out, right? Like we're always, you know, we're all trying to figure it out. What is our purpose? Right? What are we here to do? How do we even get to that point? Right? But I think that it's so noisy right now. It is so noisy that people haven't taken the time to step back and do the analyzing in quiet. Right? Like you have to analyze yourself in the solitude and then the silence, right? You can't analyze if there's a TV on. Can't analyze if you're looking at social media. Can't analyze if the computer's on. You know, you've got to have that solitude and that silence so that you can figure it out and figure out what you want. But people are so fast moving and it's so fast paced nowadays that they're not taking the time to really look inward, and that introspection is where you gather that, you know, what is your happiness? What is your purpose? What do you want? You know, so and the signs are all there.
Sorry, there's a delay, so it keeps happening. So do you have do you have like do you do visualization still? Or I was going to ask more of in general, do you have like a morning routine where you do those types of things, or you either meditate or you visualize every day or something like that?
100%. There's a book. It's called The Artist's Way, and in the book it talks about the two main things that I took away from it is the morning pages, where you write three pages a day of just stream of consciousness stuff. Don't judge it. I was in a morning meeting today, and I was just finishing, and my chicken scratch is like, it looks like hieroglyphics. You know, people are like, what the hell is that? Can you even read it? And I'm like, I can't even read it. Can't even go back to read it. But that's not the point. The purpose is to get it out, you know, and really think about things and like strategize. And why are you doing the things that you're doing? And is it purposeful? Right? Like I never spend the day doing things without intention. Right? If I'm going to have my free time, that's intentional free time, right? If I'm going to write, that's intentional writing time. If I'm going to work, that's intentional, right? And look, it's not a perfect science, but if you're not disciplined with your life and you're not living intentionally, then life is going to happen to you, always. Because there's always things coming. But if you know what you're doing and if you know what your intention is for the day, there's a really good book. I know I talk about books all the time, but The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, he talks about that. He says the 6 most important things to do for the day. That's it. Everything else, if you can get to it, whatever. But those 6 most important things to do for the day, that is going to move the needle forward. And what does that mean, move the needle forward? Moving the needle in ways that are going to get you to where you want to go. Right? A lot of people want to say that they're productive because they're busy, but busy doesn't mean productive. Busy is just busy. You know what I mean? I don't care if you got 40 things done on your task list if it's all BS that it's not moving the needle forward. And here's the things that move the needle forward is unsexy shit. Not sexy, hard work, not, you know what I mean? Like I'm writing my book right now. It's a grind. You know what I mean? Like it's difficult. You know what I mean? But like, it's the discipline that I'm like, you know what? Even if I do 10 minutes today, that's 10 minutes that I wouldn't have done today if I didn't do it. Right? So intentional about all of the things that you do. And like I said, if you're trying to live more intentionally, you'll get to where you want to go, right? Faster. And you'll, you know, and like I said, the universe, if you're super clear about what it is that you want, the universe will give it to you. And clarity is key, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in talking to your employees, whether it's relationships with my wife, whether it's a relationship with my daughter. Being super clear about what it is that I want. And you cannot get clear if you're moving fast. You're moving too fast and you're distracted. And look, everybody likes to throw around the ADD word. And, you know, and I used to be like, oh, I'm ADD. But like, I think that's a cop out. I think that, you know, if you're like, oh, you're labeled ADD, now you have an excuse as to why your life is falling apart. And there's no excuse for that. Because if you talk to anybody in my family, Armando has ADD. Great. Whatever it is, it's a superpower to me.
But you have the ability to take that step back. And that's when you analyze.
That's right.
And get clear.
And that's when, exactly. And only can you move forward. And it's that parable of the 2 people trying to chop the tree down. Have you heard of this parable? About one guy, you know, he's chopping the tree.
Where he walks off.
Yeah, he walks off. Yeah, and what's he been doing? He's been sharpening the axe. Which is why I try to read every day. Try to read a book a week. You know what I mean? Because in things that I know are going to help me move the needle forward. I'm not just reading a book to read a book, right? Like if there's something that I want to be better at, then I'm going to read about it. You know, if I want to be better at sales, let me read about sales. If I want to be better at marketing, let me do that. If I want to have a better mindset, let me read about that. If I want to have a better relationship with people, let me do that. So you know, but it's all intentional.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to something like your book, for example, what do you think creates the resistance to, I guess, making more progress than you'd like to see in a project like that?
What's creating resistance?
Yeah, so like I'm getting the feeling that, like, you know, you want to make more progress on your book and you haven't made as much as you want. Or is that accurate? Or, you know, even if I write for 10 minutes, it's okay, I'm making progress. Do you find that you're having resistance in writing and getting your book done?
Yeah, of course. There's always going to be obstacles in your way. And I think it's the universe also testing you on whether or not you really want it. Do you really want this book? Because if you do, then you'll finish it. If you don't, then you won't. And that's the litmus test, right? Like I think you can have whatever it is that you want in the world, but do you have the tenacity to stick with it? Do you really want it? If you really want it, you'll stick with it. So I think that's the thing. It's like, you know, I know I want to finish this book, right? But I get, you know, I own a business, so I'm getting like calls daily from my project manager, and then this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, right? So you know, you also have to strategize, right? And go, okay, top line revenue is number one, right? In any business. Like that is the priority. If you're not focused on top line revenue, you're not going to grow your business, right? Because guess what? You can have amazing months and then you can have lean months, right? But the thing is, you want to make sure that in those really great months that you keep pushing that marketing, you keep pushing that business, because you will have those months that aren't as profitable.
Strong as the others, yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you got to stay consistent with that. So top line revenue is number one in the business, right? And then everything else comes after that. So that's on my 6 most important things to do for the day is top line revenue is always number one.
Right.
That means following up. That means training new salespeople. That means, increasing my content. That anything that helps with my sales and marketing, like those are the things that I focus on, number one, right? And then everything else after that, I try to delegate, and spend more time. And that's that's also part of time management.
Absolutely. So when you show up to the office, that's the first thing you're doing is kind of going through, following up with people, sending the emails off and all that.
I'll tell you what I did. I'll tell you what I did today.
Yeah.
While I was watching the soccer game at lunch. Germany versus Costa Rica, and Japan versus Spain, which Japan won. Like,
did they
beat Spain and they beat Germany? Like they're at the top. I was like, wait, hold up, what's happening? That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there and I'm like, I could watch this game, right? But I could watch this game and also, do a little business. So what I did was I went through and I have opportunities that are in my CRM. It's called Keep. It's a customer relations manager. And so my opportunities, it's like a long list. It's about, 250 people that are in that list, right? Yeah. And then I subcategorize it to leads, right? And the leads list is about 75, right? And then I have a hot lead list. And so the hot lead list is people, and I think there's about 30 people on that list right now that are like on the verge, maybe not, So what I do is I hit them up. Today, some of them, I had not left them a review on their business. And I was like, hey, what's your Google My Business page? I want to leave you a review. Oh my God. Yeah. Sent me, they sent me the Google review, and I left them a 5-star review and a nice thing. And they're like, oh man, we need to get together.
Yeah. That's dope.
I'm like, yeah, we do. Let's get together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I sent out about 20 of them during the game. And I'm watching the game. I send it out. I did, and that's all top line revenue focused. Right. And I'll probably convert a few of those. But we were talking today, about how do we give first in that sales process. Like a lot of people are like, when they reach back out and they're following up, it's always like, hey, I'm following up. Hey, I'm reaching back out. Hey, I'm circling back. Hey, you know what I mean? Like, that's not value build. Like, if I've heard your pitch and I haven't bought from you, what does that tell you?
I need something else. You got to show me something new.
I need some more convincing.
Right.
I'm not saying no.
Right.
I just, at this point, don't think that your services are a priority.
Right.
So how do you convince me that it is?
Right.
And you're not going to convince me by going, hey, I'm following up with you. Right. Hey, I'm circling back. Right? Got to build value. Got to build that dream. And we were talking about that today with with the custom songs. It's like, hey, send out a little jingle. Send out a little something. Or hey, I had an idea that'd be a really fun song for you. You know, jazzy with some Afro beats or whatever. Oh wow, what's that sound like?
Yeah.
Or hey, here's a song we just made for somebody and it's killing. Yeah. Like this person's got like thousands of hits on it. And now we're building a story and we're connecting in a way where it's not just about money. When people hit me up with I'm just following up and I'm circling back, it's just like, okay, you need money.
Right.
And that's what it feels like, right? And then it's like, okay, this person wants to borrow. It's like when somebody wants to borrow money from you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're just like,
yuck feeling. Yeah.
It's that feeling. Nobody wants that. Nobody likes that feeling. Right. So don't follow up. Look, if you're listening to this, stop following up with that. Stop following up with I'm just following up or I'm circling back. Like that. Are you still? Oh, and that one. Are you still interested?
Right.
Like, no, I'm not. Stop bothering me. I'm really not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Damn.
But, I
that's true.
sent on Thanksgiving, I sent funny fat memes about it's a pig, being pulled away by a security guard. And he's like, oh, me at the deviled eggs table, And it was like, something funny, but it keeps you top of mind. And it's like, hey, I don't care about your money. I care about you as a person, and here's something funny. I hope you thought it was funny.
Yeah. Exactly.
And these people will eventually come back and they'll want to do business with you. One, because you have a good service, but two, because they like you.
Right. You're fun to work with. You won't be a pain in the ass to work with. It'll be an enjoyable experience. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the position you want to be in, right? You want to be in the position where you get to choose who you work with because you want to work with these people, not because you have to work with these people, not because you need to work with everybody. And it's true. That's where we want to be, for sure.
It's true.
Man. Cool. So let's talk about how you guys are marketing yourselves now. So you obviously do at Leduc Entertainment, you help grow businesses through content marketing. But what about what you do for yourselves to grow your business via content marketing, I'm assuming?
We do. Content marketing is at the top of the list, right? So, we have brainstorming sessions on a weekly basis to talk about, our messaging, our branding, what's working, what's not working, so that when we create content, it's fun, it's engaging. Right. It's also, it's going to get us more business, right? So content marketing, we also go to networking events. So, BNI, Chamber of Commerce. I also go to masterminds. I have an admin assistant right now working on finding me some different conferences to go to for 2023. So attorney conferences, IT conferences, where you're meeting people. My podcast is an amazing place to market and to sell. And it's an easy way to create content, but it's an easy way to build rapport with people. Right. So I've used that. Currently looking at getting a billboard. Currently looking at using the song on the radio.
What song is that?
And then it's called "Make a Video." And you should hear it.
Tell us a little bit about that. What's
by Combined Habits. No, it was dope, man. When we first got that video, or when we first got the song, it was one of those things like, all right, man, I finished your song, and I was like, boom, I hit it, and it was just, I was like, Shauna, listen to this song. And it was like, oh my God, that's fire. And it was like, okay, great. And then I just sent it to everybody. And everybody was just like, dude, this is fire. Who is this? What is this? This is amazing. I was like, I know. So it was, talk about a talk trigger, which is another book you should read. It's called Talk Triggers. Why things go viral, and why things get seen, why they don't, And a big thing in that book is social currency, right? People want to do things that elevate their social currency, right? That elevate them and how they're perceived. So when you hear when you can share something for the first time, or something that makes you look cool, or any achievement or anything like that elevates your social currency, which is why content marketing is so great, is because when you're doing content marketing on the regular, it raises your social currency, right? Because then more people know you, more people trust you, more people can buy from you. So that's where it's at. But I sent this song out to everybody, and they're like, holy shit. Armando hired somebody to make a song. It's sick. So that immediately raised my social currency. Yeah. And to the point where other people, Brett, he heard it and was like, I need one for my business. Right. And so didn't he get 2 made?
Yeah, we got 2. We did 2 for him.
So yeah. So, people hear it and they're like, man, and then we did the video, and that, and so I'm looking for a good Facebook and social media ads person to really blow it up, because that's I'm gonna definitely use that for that, and then I'm gonna use it for the radio, but I also want to because you got to add in there the voice stuff where it's all hey guys, if you're looking at us making a video for you, the call to action stuff. So. Yeah.
We can customize the version.
So looking at doing some radio.
Okay. Oh, I was thinking I was thinking last night.
What's that?
Actually, I couldn't fall asleep last night, and I was just thinking about a billion things. But I want to be able to chop up that song for you, and I have a couple ideas for much shorter versions of it, and I want to be able to create a version that starts right away with the chorus, and then does like the first half of the chorus like you hear in the beginning, and then just ends with make a video. You know what I'm saying? It'll be like a 5-10 second piece that you could use for a lot of different stuff. You know, I was just thinking about that.
I love it.
I'll be shooting you that way soon. But yeah,
I appreciate it. I appreciate it
for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, look, having a song is something that I've always dreamed of having a song, like for my business, you know. And it was cool it's cool to have one now, where it's like, you know, and not only is it a song for my business, but it's fire. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good song, you know, where people are like, oh, make a video, like, you know. So, yeah, it's much appreciated on that front, you know, and definitely going to continue, you know, making it. Because I'll tell you, man, music sticks. Yeah. Music sticks so well, you know, and if it's done right, well, here's the thing, right? Not done well, it can be detrimental. You know what I mean? Because it's almost offensive. Yeah. Like when you hear like bad music, it's offensive. It pisses people off. You know what I mean? Literally. But if it's like, good, turn that shit off. But if it's good, yeah, it's like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. But if it's good, people are like, man, put that on repeat. Yeah. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like when we shot the music video, everybody there was just like, make a video. Like, damn, this is good. Make a video. You know? So,
catching it. It is crazy how music affects our brain, you know? And it's like, I feel like they figured out a long time ago that, you know, music is very strongly tied to memory, and everybody, whether they realize this or not, you know, when you hear a song from back in the day in high school or whatever, and you hear it, you haven't heard it in a while, it takes you right back to that moment. You feel the same way, you can see the same things. Like, it is so strongly tied. The path from that to your memory is so short, and it's the same thing in marketing. Man. You know, it's the same thing in marketing, like, you know, and I feel like that's why they go shorter and shorter and shorter, like with McDonald's, like it's just ba-da-ba-ba-ba, and then like that's so short, so it's really easy to remember it, and it's catchy, and it just brings you straight to them golden arches, you know, and there's a reason why major companies use them, you know, it's like they know.
100% they know. You know, and like I was telling you with those ratios, I know you were talking about like how I use my marketing, but you know, that 37% in employees and then the 25% in marketing. Like you have to be disciplined at any level of your business to put 25% back into marketing. Right. And I think a lot of people don't grow their business because they're either overspending on employees,
pocketing
way too much. And I'll tell you what happens with employees is that if you don't have proper KPIs in place, and for those of you that don't know what a KPI is, a key performance indicator, right? It lets me know how to, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, right? So if you can't measure what it is that your employees are doing, you cannot manage it, right? And once again, it becomes unclear and ambiguous. And so you have a lot of business owners that are in positions where they've hired people, and those people have been around for a year, 2, 3 years, and they're just like part of the business. They can't get rid of them, right? And it's just like, if they try to like, if they try to get, you know, like some traction or whatever, then they have these toxic people that are in their business that are like, I ain't doing that.
Right. Because they're so used to the way things were. And now all of a sudden you're putting these like quotas and all these different things on them. They're like, what? Yeah. That's real.
And so, you know, and then they don't have the backbone to fire somebody. Right. You know, but that's the thing. It's like you cannot have toxic employees in your business. All that to say, you got to stay disciplined with that 25% because without top line revenue, you can't grow your business. And I don't care where you are in your business, if you're pulling in $1,000 a month or if you're pulling $100,000 a month. Like 25% of that needs to go into some sort of marketing effort. And for people that are starting out, your marketing efforts might be giving away stuff for free.
Yeah.
That might be your marketing. You know what I mean? Because the only thing is, what do you have at that point? When you're starting a business, you have sweat equity and you have what you do.
Right.
That's it.
You don't have any results or testimonials or case studies.
You don't have any results or testimonials. Yeah. So your marketing now becomes, okay, I got to give some stuff away. I have to do some free things in order to get stories to build. And that is part of my marketing spend.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even if I'm not and think about it in that term. Like if you are giving a song away, right? Or if you're giving a video away, or if you're giving, dentist work away, or whatever business that you're in, right? Like that becomes, that pro bono becomes your marketing for that month.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But it's great at that level, because then you have somebody talking about your stuff.
Right.
And it was so great.
Yeah, I don't think
it was so great working with this person.
Right. I don't think a lot of people look at it like that. They feel like if they're giving something away for free, that it's hurting their business and they're sacrificing or whatever it is. But that's really amazing if you can translate that to, no, this is part of my marketing spend. This gesture is part of my marketing spend, and then it becomes very valuable. And you're seeing a return, and then you'll see a return, because your return is that testimonial, that case study, the people talking about you, the referral that could come out of it, everything. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then what happens is you get used to, number one, giving back as a first step, right? Number two, it gets you into the mode of spending money or energy on your marketing. Right? So 25% of what we bring in monthly goes into marketing. And when we make more money, we spend more on marketing. If we make less, we spend less. But it's always 25%. Always 25%. If not more, like, look, Lewis is crazy. This dude, they have high tolerance. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like him and his business partner, I think they're up to 45% in marketing spend.
Oh, they're
45%.
Yeah.
Like they're all in, bruh. Yeah. But they're like billboards, TV, radio, social media.
Yeah.
Like, the community outreach, even doing 8-figure firm, like that is marketing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like all of those things, like it's part of the marketing spend.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're not disciplined in giving 25% of whatever it is that you're bringing in back into your business, you're never going to grow. And you have to get in that mindset at the very beginning. Because you don't think if you're not doing it now, you ain't going to be doing it when you're making $100,000 a month.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
So what the employee percentage is? You said 37?
37%.
Right. So do you see that? I'm sure it's all worked out. Do you see that as like what's the word? Like the ratio works out in terms of once you've hit that cap of your employee spend and you're at that 37%, you're noticing that you don't have a need to hire anybody else? Or do you notice when you get a need to hire somebody else, you found that you haven't spent the money yet on a new employee? Like all of a sudden that room...
Yeah, that's all about the growth, right? It's never, you're never going to be in a situation where you have the right amount of people. And you shouldn't, right? Like you should always be like one person short. Right? Because you're growing. So that way you're always like pushing out. Yeah, you're growing and you're pushing out, right? And you become more efficient, right? If you're, once again, that book I was telling you about, The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, one of the things that he talks about is these workshops with your team. Like, don't try to figure this out by yourself. Like, and you've been on my brainstorming sessions, right? Yeah. Like when I'm doing a brainstorming session in a writer's room, there's several of my writers in there, right? We're not trying to figure it out by ourselves, right? So workflows are the same thing. If we're trying to do workflows, get the people involved. And they're the ones that are in the trenches, so they're going to be the ones that can say, hey, here are the bottlenecks, here are the obstacles. How can we overcome this? And you as a CEO are there to help, roll that along and help your team figure that out, right? With you there.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
let's figure out what some solutions could be. Is it the fact that maybe your people are not as educated as you thought?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, could there be some tech stuff out there that's going to make this whole thing faster? Like the other day, I didn't even know this. I've had the Sony A7S III for 2 years, and I had a guy come in and he shot some Christmas photos. On the camera, you can send those photos straight to the phone.
Right.
Like immediately.
Has
and
a Wi-Fi
and they all showed up. I was like, what? It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was like, wait, I figured you could do it, but just that little bit of tech saved me at least an hour.
Right.
Of like me trying to figure out what photos I wanted to get color corrected and all of that.
Right. And you can go straight to the computer too, I think.
Yeah. And then I favorited it. Boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. It was in my iPhotos.
Awesome.
Done. Sent it to him. He color corrected it. Sent it back. Done. So, all of those things can speed up the process and make sure that 37% is super maximized,
Right.
and not to say that, like, look, nobody's a robot. I don't expect my employees to be working every second of the day that they're in here.
Right.
However, if we have deadlines and we have accountability and we sit down, we're like, hey guys, is this how long this should take? Yes, great. Well, then if you're not hitting those deadlines, it's because you're not hitting your KPIs. And then we got to reevaluate. Are you sick? Is this too much? Are you overwhelmed? What's happening?
Right.
So
right. Yeah.
That's how you
crazy.
keep within those ratios. Yeah.
Processes and procedures, man. It's
Processes
crazy.
and procedures, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot.
It's cool
It's
because
definitely a
what
lot.
happens is when you do start putting them in place, and then you bring somebody on, they're no longer like, just waddling and trying to figure out. It's like they can catch speed a lot faster because it's clear, right? But a lot of times business owners, they're the only ones that know how to do that particular thing. So they're like, fuck it. I'm not going to teach so-and-so to do it. I'm just going to do it. Right? Because it's going to take me 5 minutes to do. It's going to take them 20 minutes. However, if you micromanage them through that process for the first, it's going to take you 20 minutes this time. And then next time it's going to take you 18. And then next time 15. And then 13. And you will get to that 5-minute mark. Right? And then you micromanage it all the way to your service standard. And then they become leveraged employees. And once they become leveraged employees, then they teach. And that's how you get to an 8-figure business, right? Because like that, my goal now in the next 5 years is to hit 8 figures. And in order to hit 8 figures, I need to create leaders, right? Because I can't be the one to teach everybody, right? So create a leader with Melanie, create a leader with Will, start creating a leader with Ethan, start creating a leader with Jeffrey, start creating a leader with all of these people so that they now can bring the people on and they understand what the service standard is. So they teach. And so if those people are not hitting our service standards and not hitting the KPIs, then they're not in alignment and then they got to go.
Right.
Not to say that, and we got interns here that we can train up.
Right.
But we're obviously not going to be paying somebody a professional wage if they're an intern level.
Right. Exactly. And this is continuing to keep you in the position of, top line revenue, growing the business, continue focusing on growing the business, and then whatever other creative aspects you want to be involved in, right?
That's it.
At a certain point, you are the bottleneck, and then you have to continue duplicating yourself, right, in different ways, and to avoid those bottlenecks. Yeah.
In some capacities, I have become a nuisance in my business.
Right.
Because I don't know what's happening on a micro level, which, look, I don't need to. Right? If it's all working, great. Now, if it's not working, then we need to come back and we need to analyze. But it's a good place to be, right? Like, I don't know what the day-to-day things are going on in the business, right? I get with my leaders and I say, hey, what's going on? Why is this happening? And then they can go and, deliver the messages to the other employees. But there's obviously a chain of command and, and all of those things get done. But yeah, once that happens, yes, then you free yourself up to do the things that you need to do, which is what I was telling you, the solitude, the silence, to really think about what it is that you want to do and the ideas on how to get there, right? Without me having to like do every single thing in the business.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, man. And that's where we thrive, right? We thrive in that area of vision and creativity and seeing the big picture and where do I want to go and getting excited about that new place that we want to take everything, right? And that's where we get the most excited and thrive. And then if you're in a position where you have these people in place that could help you carry it out, it's just like, that's, I'm sure, where you see exponential just growth.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's a book, it's called Rocket Fuel. And it's the guy that wrote the book Traction. He created a system, the EO system, and it's all about the process and procedures in business. But the book Rocket Fuel is all about the relationship between the visionary and the implementer, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing is you have a lot of people that are visionaries that don't understand that they are visionaries. And then you have integrators that think that they are visionaries and they're integrators. They can make things happen and they integrate and they implement, right? So I'm a visionary with some, with some integrator in me, but not much. You know what I mean? Like I can sit in a meeting and try to talk about the ins and outs of it, but it's much better if I'm like, hey, Will, this is what needs to happen. And so our relationship, I'll tell you, man, having a Will on staff, having a great second in command is hugely beneficial for your business, especially if you guys are in alignment, right? Because if you really want to take off, you have to have that implementer and visionary relationship. Because if you guys are both implementers, nothing's going to happen because you guys don't have the vision in order to get there. And then if you have two visionaries that are part of the business, y'all ain't going to get anything done because all you guys are thinking about is the dream. Right. Nobody's going to implement anything. You guys have ideas for days. Yep. So it really is, knowing that's what it is. And look, you can be the business owner as both, right? Like you could be a business owner implementer, but you have to find yourself a visionary. And if you're a visionary, then you need to find yourself an implementer. Right. But that book is really good for that, Rocket Fuel, for sure. Yeah. Find yourself a second, Yeah. And find that help.
When you first told me about that one, I read it right away. And I realized that I'm definitely both. Yeah. Especially in the beginning stages, it's like everyone kind of has to be both in the beginning. You gotta be. And so, but then once you get to that point where actually, doing business and you're getting there, then you have to have and I feel like you said a lot of it is definitely ego too, because you want to have your hands in everything and you want to make sure everything gets done the way that you want it to get done. And it's just being able to say, hey, these are the things I'm good at. These are the things that I suck at. Like, you need to do these things. I'm going to stick with these things, and then that's how you become that well-oiled machine for sure. So, yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
This is great. This is great, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. Yeah. Finally.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and when
I'm gonna have you on mine.
Yeah, let's. I'm
gonna get you scheduled.
Signed up on the thing. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Have you been getting the emails?
I have. But great. I'm on your.
That actually, let you know
when everything's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got one email so far. Because I signed up on it yesterday.
When did you sign up?
Yesterday.
So you're gonna start getting some more emails, like every 2 or 3 days. So what'll happen is so I'm taking you through that customer journey, right? Which is something that we spoke about too. It's like, hey guys, what is the customer journey? What are the expectations? Oh, okay, you're in this phase. This is what you can expect now. Hey, you're in this phase. This is what you can expect. So, that way you're super in the know. And now that you're in the application, Melanie sees it. She'll find some time in the calendar, and then she'll invite you, and we'll get it set up.
Cool, awesome, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Armando Leduc, everybody. Leduc Entertainment, and if you need some high-level video content marketing, make sure you hit them up. They're out of Louisiana, but it don't matter where you are.
Make a video.
Make a video. Hey, man, thanks a lot.
Make a video.
I'm gonna talk to you soon.
Yeah. Brandon,
All right, boss.
always a pleasure, man.